Well, Frank Carver, in his book, Beyond a Reasonable Doubt, says there's 9 things that we know historically about Jesus Christ. 1, Jesus of Nazareth died by means of crucifixion. Number 2, Jesus' body was placed in a guarded tomb. We know that. The disciples were shattered that their Messiah had died. They lost all hope and did not expect a resurrection. Number 4, the tomb of Jesus was found empty on the 3rd day. We know this, not just from the Bible, but from historical documents back in that day, including the writer Josephus, who was a Roman historian who was Jewish by heritage. Very famous historian. Number 5, eyewitnesses reported the bodily resurrection of Jesus on several occasions, over 500. In fact, the shattered faith of the disciples was radically transformed into a bold belief in the resurrection. The disciples from this point willingly sacrificed their lives for the cause of Christianity. Number 7, the proclamation of the early church was unapologetically the resurrection of Jesus Christ, and this preaching began in Jerusalem where Jesus was crucified. Number 8, we also know that the Christian church sprang from the news of the resurrection. Sunday became the featured day of worship. And lastly, we know from history, Jesus appeared to James and to Paul, both of whom experienced conversion as a result of their encounters with the risen Christ. Now, over the years, there have been people that have come up with theories saying it's some kind of a trick. For example, somebody came up a couple hundred years ago with the swoon theory. And it's amazing to me that nobody came up with a theory about this for like 1,700 years after Christ died. And all of a sudden, because of our enlightenment, we come up with logical explanations. Well, one's a swoon theory. He never died. He was beaten with a cat of 9 tails, separated the organs in his back, nailed to a cross, wrapped up like a mummy. 2 Roman executioners, professional guys, executioners, pronounced him dead. Blood and water came out of his side, sign of death. He was placed in a tomb. 3 days later, he woke up, unwrapped himself, no sign of blood on him whatsoever. He pushed away the stone, overcame the guards, and pronounced himself resurrected. That did not gain much traction. Nobody really believes that today. And what about the hallucination theory? 500 people all hallucinated at the same time. The 12 disciples hallucinated. Peter, Paul later hallucinated. And then there's the wrong tomb theory. Mary went to the wrong tomb. And then the disciples went to the wrong tomb. And the Roman guards were guarding the wrong tomb. See, none of these have gained any traction. And many of you, unless you've studied all this, have never heard of them. So what are the options? Either Jesus Christ rose from the dead or the body was stolen. That's it. That's your only options. If you look at history, that's it. Now, if he was stolen, there are only 2 options there. Either his friends did it or his foes did it. Now, if the Jewish leaders, his foes, did this, they had opportunity. My goodness, they had it in with the Romans. Romans had no dog in the fight. They put 2 Roman guards there because the Jewish leaders wanted it that way. They believed in what Jesus said could possibly happen, maybe, I don't know. He claimed he was going to rise from the dead. The disciples never saw it, but they were cautious about it. But if they stole the body, boy, that would have been a great thing. Because when Peter stood up on the day of Pentecost and began to preach the gospel, all they had to do was produce the decaying body of Jesus. And that cult would have been over as far as they were concerned. Christianity would be dead today. Never got off the ground, and all they had to do was produce the body. But we know from history that never happened. In fact, they never claimed to have stolen the body. They said the disciples, read Matthew 28. They claimed the disciples, this is the story we're going to tell, the disciples stole the body. Well, if they stole the body, they didn't have opportunity. They didn't even believe he was going to be resurrected. And then also, as they would have stolen the body, they stole the body. If they stole the body, they would have known he was dead. But yet they died for their faith. Now you say, well, Pastor, there's a lot of people that have died for their faith, and I would agree with that. But everybody that's ever died for their faith believed they were dying for the truth. I would say to you, if the disciples stole the body, they died knowing they were dying for a lie. And so what's our only other alternative? That the historical facts are correct, and Jesus Christ miraculously, because he is God in the flesh, because he can do everything and all things, sovereign over the universe, that he rose from the dead.